Welcome, everybody, to a special edition of the Apple Bitz XL. I've got an all-star cast here. I'm just going to introduce them left to right. You might recognize some of them from the internets. On my left, Miss Krystal Lora.
Hello.
Next to her, Judner, your average consumer.
What's up, what's up?
Oh, you said the same thing when I introduced you last time.
Keep it consistent.
Okay. Over here, Techmeout.
What is going on, y'all?
And then on my right, Cherlynn, deputy editor of Engadget.
Hello.
So we got a YouTube mix. We've got some online media mix. We got a little bit of everything. So we're going to jump in this. Thank you so much for coming out here. We're here at WWDC 23. And some of us have been able to try the headset. Some of us have not, but I think that's what's going to be really interesting about the perspective here. But I know someone who literally just experienced it. And Krystal over there, that lady, Krystal, yes. Judner and I did it last night, and it was awesome. But we told each other, don't talk to each other, right?
Yeah, leave it for the cameras.
Yeah, so let's hear how you're feeling and just everything.
Oof.
Just go.
I literally, the second I came out, I said this before, I was like, are these waterproof? Because I'm about to cry.
Oh, wow.
It was like, I was speechless. Because I wasn't expecting just how seamless the integration of AR and VR would be. It just, you got to try it on to see what it's like. But I'm trying to what are the words to describe that feeling?
I think we all felt that.
Yeah.
But that's what's
what are the
amazing.
words?
Yeah. It's interesting she's saying that because I was telling Judner after he came out of his demo, I was just talking to someone else that had just finished a demo, and everybody has the same look. It's like this frozen face of confusion and excitement. And it just, I don't know, and they end up saying the same thing that you say. They say a few words and then they're like, I just don't have the words for it.
I know. I was trying to film my reaction right after.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to have to do this later because I'm still shaking from it. But no, I think the biggest wow to me was oh, I'm still kind of in real life. I'm still very aware of everything that's around me, but you can experience things virtually in such a different and refreshing way.
Mm.
So,
Judd, what about you, my man?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So I went in really skeptical, I'll be honest. I didn't expect too much. But I guess when it's Apple, it's you should know better. Because it was a lot more polished than I expected. VR headsets, we've all tried them. They're cool. It's enjoyable, things that we never experienced just in our everyday world. But, you get a taste of it, and you're just like, okay, cool. That was fun. This, I walked away I can use this. I can use this every day. I thought it was dope.
So as someone who hasn't worn one of these and serious FOMO over here, when you say you can use this, do you mean in terms of use case, you envision yourself fitting into your life?
I immediately started thinking, okay, what does this look like in my office? How do I use this instead of my computer? I immediately, how do I integrate it? And I think there's a couple of different applications for it. There's going to be the productivity side of things, having iMessage open, Safari, Slack, whatever, applications we can have on there. I can see the value instead of being, sticking to a regular everyday computer. And then there's the entertainment side of things. I didn't expect what.
No, I'm saying,
Oh, okay.
Right. I wasn't doing the negative. I was like, man, I was so floored. I'm like, yeah, that's one. That's a bop. That's a bop.
Because and I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I've tried Netflix and YouTube on other VR headsets, it's okay, you can watch content on here.
Yes, I agree.
You can do it. Do you want to?
Do you choose to do it?
Never.
No. Yeah.
I would do it here, especially when it goes there's that cinema mode where you can watch a video and then the cinema mode turns it into what feels like a theater. It legitimately feels like a theater.
So I want to ask you, T and Cherlynn, before I put out my thoughts. You haven't experienced it, and let's not talk about what other people are telling you right now. But I'm curious how you felt when you saw it and where are you at right now. Right? Let's pretend we ignore what the noise is right now, but how did you feel about it looking at it before it was anyone even got to check it out?
I was excited at the announcement, the innovation. I say, the kind of quote there, it's one of one, the only one. You know what I mean? I haven't seen something like this that implements AR and VR in the way that the Vision Pro does. So that made me excited to also know that it was portable in the sense where it's not just travel friendly because of its size, but also in the function. Because a lot of VR headsets right now, you can't even face direct sunlight with those. You can't use them outside. You can take them with you because they're small in form factor, but use case scenarios, you have to be indoors. Where with this, you can be on a plane. You could be outside. Like we joked earlier saying walking, but no, really, you don't want to do that. But I mean, if you want to be that person to flex real quick.
I'm sure we'll see people doing that.
Oh, you know so.
Oh, you already know.
Yeah.
But I was just excited for the innovation behind it, the features. I think Apple stood out a lot with some of the features that they brought to it. As something as simple as like people fading in slowly when they enter into the room so that you can see that they're there, or that they can see your eyes so that they know if you're in, an immersive session or not. Things like that, they matter a lot because I've played VR, and just hearing these things that are going to be on the Vision Pro is just like, I definitely am super excited to give it a go.
Cherlynn, what about you?
I've said this a few times before in other conversations with people, and I think here's what it boils down to for me is that Apple uniquely is the one company that can do a lot of the things it's done here.
Yes.
Especially the feature that blew me away the most, which is you take out the MacBook and you walk up to it and its screen is just like in your face, but bigger. And it's like, whoa. Of course, Apple can do this because handoff, SharePlay, AirPlay, AirDrop, whatever, right? But that is incredibly seamless. I know the Apple people here must be very happy that I'm saying this, but holy crap, that blew my mind. And then as I was walking up to the physical display devices in that big circle that you couldn't touch, I walked up to it. I was like, okay, this is a real thing. This is no longer just vapor that we've been hearing rumors about. It's real, and also because it's Apple, I was way more willing to believe that it would work, as opposed to just be skeptical, because I've never seen Apple demo a product, in the recent years at least.
Yes.
They've never brought something to the table that didn't work as they said it would.
It's the trust factor.
And it's the trust factor, it's the history of establishing something will work. And if things come up that don't work, like for example, AirTags, there was a lot of controversy around AirTags, right? But the product itself worked, right? It is stuff that maybe the company didn't consider after putting out there, but the product itself often works. So this is I'm so excited to try it out. This is why I believe all the people when they've come off so impressed.
I mean, I want you all to try it, and I know you will eventually. I think, honestly, I resonate exactly with what Krystal said, because I didn't want to talk about it first because I was like, oh, people are going to totally rip on me. But I got emotional. I felt this sense of joy because for people that have covered tech for so long, this is stuff that how many times have we seen something where you actually had this emotional and physical response that kind of changed you? It made you tingle. And I was just like, this is amazing. I've loved tech all my life. This is not something that I know if I'm going to use every day. Probably not. But what they presented to us was mind blowing. It was, I couldn't describe it. And I literally was, the whole time they were doing the demo, I was laughing. I was saying, this is stupid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's stupid. I'm like, that's fucking stupid. And I was just laughing the whole time because I couldn't believe what I saw. But at one point I was just sitting there and it was almost this, being introspective, this whole culmination of this product represents so many years of technology, history, heritage. The idea that how many years have we heard people talk about Apple is not innovative with Steve Jobs? You can throw that argument out the table now.
Tim Cook.
Right? The Tim Cook regime and the people here, obviously it's more than one person, but it's always easy to attach Apple during its peak years of innovation. We don't know how this thing is going to really sell once it hits the market. And right now it's still way ahead of time. It's going to go down in price down the road. But, that even kind of changes the narrative of Apple as a company today with this single product that they've been working with behind the scenes for 8 to 10 years. People have been saying, you guys aren't innovative. Look, clearly they put a lot of team and resources working on this behind the scenes. And maybe that energy was directed, a lot of it there, obviously. And sure, I'm not saying these other products suffered, but so much energy. We didn't even talk about Vision OS yet, of how amazing it is to use. And it's just second nature after 1 minute. So
yes, that's one thing I do want to point out. The controls are so intuitive. You just pick it up right away. I was already swiping, it's this grab and swipe to right, let go. And it's just so just part of what you would picture it being to navigate.
That's what I was curious about, the responsiveness of that. But I heard good things.
Stupid.
It kind of makes me think, and you can tell me, for those of you that have experienced it, if it's like this. Have you ever been on a hoverboard? And you know how it's like, it's like I don't know, it can read your mind in terms of where you want to go. I don't know if it's the micro movements of your feet or just what.
Yeah.
But it sounds like the way that the Vision Pro is with your eyes, you know, being able to look and then select with your eyes and actually choose it with your fingers. It sounds like it's reading your mind, similar to like the hoverboard or something like that. Is it similar concept, you know, in terms of, even though it's not that, but does it feel like that in terms of like it can just kind of...
Well, I wouldn't say like read your mind.
Yeah.
But it does...
That's a stretch, but you get what I mean. I'm reaching with that.
It does seem pretty... Everything seems it's intentional, but... What are the words? And the words, right? It seems like it's the way it's
like meant to be like you.
Let me get back to it.
So like describing, so the whole thing is like PSVR 2 has had eye motion tracking, and it's actually incredible. Like most people have not been exposed to motion tracking like this, quite honestly, right? And so when you experience that is a magic, that honestly, it's so stupid. I've said it when the PSVR 2 happened, it's a magical moment, but the PSVR 2 only uses it in a certain game in some menus, not the entire OS, not every time you're using it. So it's not like you're in front of it saying, I am primarily controlling this device with just my eyes and my fingers and my voice. Here with Apple Vision Pro, that's all you got. And it's second nature. Like when you just stare at something, I do think obviously this is still 6-9+ months out. Maybe they need to make, when you stare and gaze at certain things and they kind of change a little, sometimes it maybe needs to be a little brighter to let you know, like, okay, you're really staring at this in some cases. But even looking at little things like a bar or a little contextual dot, when you stare at it, it freaking works. And then, the whole like pinching or grabbing or just tapping, I just wanted to goof around with it. I was like, okay, I'm going to put a pinch here. I'm going to put one down low. I'm going to put it on the side, right, left. I didn't try to I wasn't like, oh, do I have to put it exactly in the spot? Every time I pinched, no matter which hand and whenever, it registered it the way that you expected it to basically register.
I love that you don't need controls or controls for it. Because that's something that kind of stopped me from using other VR headsets. That and the fact that I always get nauseous and motion sick from other headsets. Like I cannot use it for more than 30 minutes to an hour. I'll just come out wanting to, throw up. Like it's not it. But with this, there was a immersive video demo that we did where they had Alicia Keys right in front, and they switched over to you're hovering over a city, and there's animals in front of you. There's a lot going on, and I was like, oh, I hope I don't get sick from this, but I didn't. It was really cool to it's that immersiveness without the
I wonder if that has to do with the resolution, right? This is two 4K displays, micro OLED, and they basically, my coworker would say this, they've invented something, right? The display itself, we haven't seen micro OLED be used anywhere except for Samsung's The Wall. And then talking about the accuracy of the hand detection, I don't know the VR market as well, the headset market very well, but is this the first time they've put cameras on the bottom? Because why didn't anyone else think of that?
So there are headsets that can actually hand track, but they kind of always say, oh, it's a little bit of beta. It's not innately used to they're not pitching the product as you can use your hands for the entire process. So it's there. It's an option. Yeah. Some games detect it. Some games don't. But I'll tell you right now, it's not as seamless. And part of what you're talking about, the resolution, the fidelity of the screen, obviously blew us all away who saw it. I've never seen a screen that clear. But the other thing is, they talk about it, the M2 processor and this new R1 chip, the 12 millisecond delay, when Krystal's talking about getting sick, they did not show us any games. So that's where I get sick the most, right? They're showing us experiences right now. But the whole idea is that without that delay, when you turn your head or look and then the motion catches up, which is typically what gets us sick, the fact that it's near real time is going to allow us to potentially be able to stay in these environments longer without getting sick. And so those are fit. And what?
The fit of it, right? The way it wears on your head, I'm sure.
I know you want to talk.
I've heard about that, but I'm really interested with the precision of the tracking of your eyes. How does it know that you're looking in the bottom left corner?
So what it does is it actually tracks it. There's a setup process where there are 6 dots that you look at. I think you do it twice. There are 6 dots, and it's tracking your eyes as you go to those dots, so it's calibrating.
Okay.
And then once you come out of that, anywhere you look, it's really accurate. So, and it doesn't require any head movement. You're just literally moving your eyes,
side eye.
It's as simple as looking at I don't know, the streak on Brian's hair, and then this top.
Why, Judner? I didn't know you noticed me.
But you can pinpoint to that small, like that with that much precision, and then it just does it. You just have to look at it.
For me, it would be the soul patch in between his goatee.
Oh, there we go.
And it has
All right,
begun.
all looking at each other a lot. Okay.
So ladies, T and Cherlynn, what other observations or feelings you have about this headset external, or maybe even things that you're concerned about, and maybe we can like talk about what we experienced.
Absolutely, fit was one of the concerns that I had.
Same.
I think as someone who doesn't have the thickest hair but has hair, it was one of the concerns, right? I don't wear hats for a reason and that sort of thing. So, but I see that they have a modular design, and it seems like it would actually be adaptable, and Apple has been in the forefront when it comes to fairly inclusive design. So I'm curious how that, because I've heard that there's additional components that they whip out during this demo. I'm not sure if it'll make it to the final product that sells to consumers. I'd definitely be curious to see what that felt like.
Well, I know Judner was when we were outside, we were so excited to just have this. He was like about to say, I'm like, don't. I said, save it for the pod. So Judd, I want to let you kind of talk about the fit, because it's going to be different for each person, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So what about you and then Krystal?
So for me, the fit was a struggle. It was a struggle at first. So there's that dial that you can kind of lock in, but there was an additional strap.
Yeah.
And I don't blame the product for this. It's a demo. It's like you get a very limited amount of time, and I kind of rushed through the fit processing, like locking all the parts in. And because of that, I felt like a lot of shifting during it. And I tried to do like little micro adjustments while the demo was going, but I didn't want to spend too much time on that. Like, I don't want to spend 5 minutes trying to make sure the headset fits me perfectly.
Judner, your demo is over because you took 5 minutes fitting the damn thing on.
Idiot.
You're out.
Is it easy to adjust? Like kind
It is very easy.
Okay.
Very easy. Like you can strap like the lock on the dial on the side just makes it tighter and tighter. And then the portion up top that we didn't see in the keynote will help keep it like upward a little bit.
Distributes the weight more on the back of the head.
Right.
Krystal, how about you?
It's kind of like a watch strap. Like you just kind of strap it.
How did it fit for you, Krystal?
So opposite for me, I was actually pretty quick to get the fit right. Like,
See, I got a big old head.
Bro, I didn't say it.
I have a lot of hair. Like
They actually made custom AirPods Max that are wider for Judner for this.
Oh, wow.
custom pods.
Oh, right.
No, but for me and Cherlynn, I know you said like with the hair, like nothing got like stuck. Like it was really easy to just dial in, strap it on, and it felt pretty comfortable. And I like that, the product itself is like a little over a pound, right? Like, it feels light to me. I know there was like mixed feelings about that.
There's mixed feelings about that.
So for me, the thing about what's interesting is just going back. Apple has showcased this headset right now, and they say it's modular with just that back strap, so it looks really clean, right? But that over-the-head strap, to me, is pretty necessary because of the weight distribution. To have that strap there, if you don't have it, for me, it is a little over a pound. I haven't even looked up what other competitors are, but I know others feel they can have that heavy weight in the front. But for me, it started getting heavy on the front, maybe around 10-minute mark. I started feeling it, and they said, hey, tighten the strap on the back a little. And yes, it did kind of bring the weight back up, but I think that might be an issue long term. I want to, because the experience is so amazing. So you kind of like, okay, this is pre-production. We look past it. There's a lot of changes that will happen, but I don't know right now if I could watch a 2-hour movie, even if I wanted to, comfortably with this headset right now. Right?
Even when you're seated, or
like just because the weight was
heavy.
like coming on my bridge, it's just like, and then I was like, okay, let's enjoy this, because the experience was insane. But the weight for me, the way my head is shaped and all that. It's definitely got heavy as the demo went on.
With you saying that, where do you feel or fear the fatigue would kick in first in wearing it? Like
So the bridge.
Just right, just you feel the weight like right here in the front. But that's just how some people's heads are shaped. And I think the other thing is a lot of other VR headsets, they are bulkier, but they have a battery pack on the back.
I was going
and
to say.
I think that offsets the weight, right? If you have like even a quarter of a pound here, it's going to pull it back just by nature and relieve some of the stress on that front. So this is obviously a decision Apple chose to make. The other thing about comfort that I was curious about with you all, I don't know if you picked up that external battery pack. It never got in the way because we were sitting down.
Right.
But that battery pack weighs like 2 iPhones. It's heavy.
Oh wow.
It's,
You thought
Do you
that?
know the size?
I stood up and put it in my pocket, and I'm like, this is heavier than an iPhone.
Interesting.
I'm used to carrying a lot, so for me,
Like,
The backpack king right here.
Same.
bro,
I wouldn't even notice it.
I felt it right. I'm like, okay, well, it's definitely heavier than an iPhone for sure.
I think that's fair. It's like
Okay.
it's like
Which
having a small
iPhone?
portable
Yeah,
charger.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's fine. I thought because the headset itself was heavier than I expected over long term that maybe the battery would have offset that weight. But we know there's so much tech inside here, right? This is first gen. There's so much stuff going on that, okay, I get it. I'm not going to hold it against them because we've seen nothing like this in the market anywhere.
That's true.
So,
I will say, just as someone who's tried it, I will say that I didn't feel any issues with the weight of it, but I did feel issues just with my straps. That's where my problem was.
not strong enough.
I don't know if I just didn't lock it in enough or I didn't lock. It was really tight.
They even told us not to tighten it too much on the back.
Oh,
like,
really?
To leave it a little like tense, but not tight.
I had mine tight. I had mine tight.
My bad.
The top strap, though, I didn't mess around with that one as much. I think that would have made a real big difference. But throughout the entire process, even with the bad fit, heavy wasn't ever the problem.
That's
for
what
me.
I was about to say. Where would your fatigue kick in? His was in the bridge.
It didn't feel heavy. Like I don't think
So
I'd
you
feel.
were fine.
I don't think I'd feel fatigue.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure it fit right, so everything looked visible and clear. That's
Okay.
just my only issue.
That's fair.
I will say that everything we're talking about now, fit, weight, these feel like topics outside of the experience, but they actually have such a huge impact on your experience that it's actually worth
Absolutely.
talking
I like
more
it.
about.
Is.
Yeah.
Because if you want to use it for the long term for all these things they describe for working all day,
Right.
you need something that you're going to forget it's there. And that's
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
people look to the Google Glass design for that's something that's more lightweight. And it's like you would think of the Google Glass as more of an XR, AR possible device, but it's too small, really. So where are we going to see this in a few years? Is it going to
Yeah.
get smaller and lighter? Or are we going to see the Vision non-Pro?
Yeah.
Visionaire, baby. Let's go.
I don't know how I feel about the idea of there being a lesser version of this.
Yeah.
Only because I feel like what sold us all right now is this exact experience. If it's any worse and the price is still high, it's like, is it really worth it then? Right now we were blown by the experience.
Yeah.
You muddy the experience and then it's like, what's the point of the product?
But would it muddy the experience? Because similar to like the iPhone lineup, you have 4 different phones, but all of them are, to me, good. It's
Yeah.
just
Good
to who it appeals to in terms of a need or features that they offer. So you might have somebody that doesn't need all the bells and whistles of the Pro features on the Vision Pro.
Vision
Might-
SE.
I guess that's the,
Okay.
I guess that's the part. That's the thing, though. What does the SE take away to make it an SE? I guess
I feel like it might open up, like, cater to other things, like more movement. Because I always talk about like Fitness Plus and all that. I feel like I always mention it. But it'd be nice to see a lighter version to open up to things like that, more like
Yes.
walking. I'm not going to say like I'm going to walk,
Yeah.
or run a marathon with
Well,
it. But
VR
for the Fitness
workouts
Plus
are a whole
videos.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Supernatural
Supernatural,
that's it's. I
yeah.
mean, that's an incredible VR workout.
Beat Saber.
Yeah,
Come
Beat
on.
Saber,
Oh,
exactly.
Beat Saber.
Yeah.
But
Let's
here's
play.
here's the thing. Even with the thing is, I think we're also talking about like, okay, when will it be slimmer? When will it be more affordable? I think that's what a lot of consumers
Yeah.
or people on the outside are thinking. To me, I'm just like, look at what they have right now, and
Right.
they showed us like 10% of what's possible. We didn't get into gaming. We didn't get into what developers are going to do with this freaking thing. We didn't get into like what Disney and big brands clearly Disney's going to make exclusive content for this specific headset that is going to align with all that Disney, juju.
Yeah.
And it's like, who doesn't like at least one thing from Disney, right? And
Yeah.
so that there's if they can give us an in-life experience with Mandalorian. And
Wow.
well, you're like, I'm not talking about like with the VR games we've seen, like you feel like you're living in this world and there's narrative and things to go through. Oh, come on. Like there can be just purely from the hardware, oh God, why do I have to say next level experiences, game changing experiences that we haven't seen before.
I think there's a reason they didn't show you anything gaming. I think that gaming might be its weak spot compared to what's out there. I think
Historically, it is their weak spot, right?
historically and also on VR. So far VR games are based on the controller model, and I
Yeah.
think that to get games to port over to Apple or Vision OS, there might be a lot more work that needs to be done, or they might actually cave and have to make controllers for gaming.
mean, it used the PS5,
They
the
show you.
DualSense controller.
Right, exactly.
So
I heard on the demo they did that, right? Or no?
Yeah,
There wasn't
the
the
video clip
There wasn't the demo
yes,
of
that's right.
the game, but from what yeah.
during
Keynote?
WWDC.
Keynote, okay.
The-
So it's possible, right?
If that's just it should make it easier for
Yeah.
developers if they're just like, oh, it's just a DualSense controller.
Well,
just use that.
here's another cool. Oh, go ahead.
What would you see the weak point being, though? As
in that, like, if you're just going to port over a PS game and make that like a console that's already in that environment that you're sitting back and playing, yes, then that's doable. Then if developers don't need to do a lot of work for their game to be played seamlessly on Vision OS, sure. I just don't know that. Like, I think it needs a bit more work to make it as bombastic as y'all have experienced so far, right? Everything you've seen so far is something created, I feel, from almost the ground up to wow you at this stage. It's a $3,500 device. It's got $1 million experiences. So what I've heard are the butterfly on your fingertip, the dinosaur experience.
Yeah.
These are things that you see once and you're very impressed
Sure.
by the technology, but you're gonna sit around at home playing with a T-Rex?
Well, here's two things to kind of address what you're talking about. So the developer conference is going on right now, and they put up videos about the developer tools for Vision OS. One of the things that they have is, we did with the stuff that we did was the simple select and the click to drag and push it out. There's ones to like expand for multi-touch. In that kit, they said that developers will be able to create their own gestures for their own games and apps.
That'd be cool, yeah.
So when we talk about,
Imagine
games now having custom movements
can go
or the
everywhere.
ability to read your hands in certain ways, now that can expand and, kind of eliminate that whole idea of the controller. And you're smiling.
I'm just imagining with the way that thing can see. Like
Yes.
I can have my hands down here and pinch. Imagine
Where?
Imagine playing 2K.
Dang.
or Creed or like a fighting game.
Yeah,
You'll really punch it. Like,
Exactly. Imagine playing 2K and you're just like dribbling and then you
Right.
shoot,
Yeah.
and it factors all of that in and actually plays like.
Yes.
You know where my head
Shooting
went?
free throw, just even free throws, man.
Yeah,
Get the
yeah.
line. Let's
Yeah.
do it. Let's get Steph Curry on.
I need to practice on mine, so that's
I
good
went
for me.
I went straight with it can actually teach you sign language, right? Like you can have actual better mapping of your
Oh, that's
hands. You
killer.
can learn
That'd
things
be
like
cool.
that. That'll be super cool.
Even
like that.
accessibility. Think about this thing
Exactly.
for accessibility computing.
Like it's
Right? There's
That's all.
a lot of.
I don't, and I didn't hear this from an Apple person, but I heard someone say that accessibility was something that's on their mind.
Gotta
Where
be.
if they can't use their hands, I think their mother had
Yep. Tremors.
tremors,
yeah.
and so they couldn't really use the pinch motion. But like you could lock in with your eyes to the point where it clicks and then do that. So someone who might not be able to use a computer or anything with their hands, being able to have this kind of technology to
Yeah.
have access to computing.
I've heard
the long gaze, you hold it for like 2 or 3 seconds
yeah.
and then it selects.
Yeah.
Right.
I've heard the voice also then comes into play when you can't use your hands.
Right.
They didn't let us use any voice for this first demo, so they kept it strictly to vision and finger and
Okay.
a few gestures.
Yeah.
I think this is very Apple, right? To think from the beginning to be a bit more inclusive. Maybe they don't think all the way through, but they will at least think about
Yeah.
these scenarios. And one thing I heard from the demos, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see anyone here wearing glasses, so I might be wrong. Anyone that wore glasses, they had a custom session before their actual demo where their glasses got measured for the prescription and then the strength, and they were fitted with these, not customly made on the spot, I don't think, but like the lenses that most match their prescription
Correct.
fitted onto the thing. And that's thoughtful. You haven't seen any other headset maker do this. It's not too difficult to do. It's actually pretty smart, if I dare
Yeah.
say. I hate to say
I wonder what that process would look like, though, because I know with other VR headsets, I think it's just like you get a spacer, something to accommodate the
Yep.
space between that and the headset and your glasses. But with this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not sure, it sounds like you get a custom.
Like a magnetic
Rings,
lenses that
yeah.
fit into a specific
Yeah.
slot into it.
So I'm interested to see what that process looks like in terms of getting your prescription to them, the turnaround. Is there an additional cost?
I imagine
know-
like they're close to reading glasses at the pharmacy or something where like maybe it's different levels and different grades and then you pick the ones that
Yeah.
matches yours the best. You get tested at the
fair.
Best Buy or something and
Yeah.
then
I
you
mean,
put it.
part of it is this whole onboarding process where it feels like it's going to be pretty custom. Like you got to go to a store to
Yeah, I
kind
get
of
that.
get it, pick it up, sit down with like a special associate to do it.
Right.
So, but there's also kind of good things that come. Like it feels really personal. Like I'm getting taken care of the Apple way.
It's because you're a
my
VIP, Brian.
Not me.
Dang.
Hey, Krystal. Were there any experiences that stood out to you? Things. Which one for you was your favorite? How about that?
Yeah, no, I love the butterfly. I love butterflies, so that was really cool. But yeah, I think like viewing the immersive video was probably like the most wow to me. And also just like the normal things, like just swiping through photos. Like that was really cool and unique.
How was it using buttons and stuff? Like not the buttons. The buttons.
Oh, that's right. The crown. Yeah.
the crown,
So that
like-
was pretty also like easy.
Yeah, you frequent the crown actually to
Yeah.
bring up your home screen, basically.
okay.
So you exit out of something, and then you hit the crown to have the app show up in front of you.
And like recenter it and all that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
occasion-
interact with it a lot.
Oh, a lot.
Yeah, right now you
Yeah,
do. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
What experiences or things did you like the most for you?
Honestly, it's just having access to all the applications in front of me, the windows. I think that's probably like, yeah, the other stuff is cool. The 3D pictures, the immersive experiences, those are amazing. But I think just seeing the everyday applications, I had iMessage, the Photos app, and Safari open at the same time. And I placed them anywhere I wanted in the room. Like I threw iMessage over here, took the photos over here on my left side. Safari was like up here, and they're just like on different planes. And seeing all of my normal everyday applications presented to me in this way, and they're not just they're actually interactive. Like you can use them. Like I think in iMessage I pulled out one. There was like a photo on the thread. I pulled out the photo, threw it over to the side. It blew up.
I'm so jealous.
I felt like Tony Stark.
Yeah, dude. I loved like just once you got the basic fundamentals down, just trying to goof with things, like staring at a thing and just like, oh, let me see if this works the way I expect it to work. Like, iMessage, or messages, you're gazing at all the different icons, they kind of highlight a little bit, you click and it just goes right to it. You start scrolling around. I think, for this headset, I kind of came in with a few ideas of what they needed to kind of hit to accomplish things. My first one was because we had heard all the reports and rumors about a separate battery, like the lightest headset or most comfortable we've seen now. That's to be determined, right? That's still TBD. But the other ones were like unique experiences. The other thing was sorry, my brain is frying. Unique experiences, easy usable OS, and then the highest fidelity in a screen we've ever seen. So they accomplished 3 of those 4 things right out of the gates in this pre-production model. For me, the Apple Immersive Video it sounds like it's a platform that they're going to be supplying with video. And I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with this company called Next VR.
Yes.
They were doing a lot of like live concert experiences. They
Yep.
were doing sporting events, and they were like in partnership with leagues. They were plopping their 360-degree cameras down. But at the time, they were ahead of their time because the fidelity was like around 1080p. Well, clearly all that stuff they showed us was next VR, like next gen stuff. And I asked them, I'm like, so is this immersive video, part of your development with the Next VR acquisition, which Apple acquired? And then the rep like closed his eyes really long and kind of smiled at me. I'm like, okay. And then, but you could think of Apple already has the Major League Soccer agreement. They have Major League Baseball. They're going to start playing with that and delivering us these 3D set cameras that you will be able to change camera angles, which you could in XVR while a game is being played. So this is taking sports, to another level.
You choose your angle.
You choose your angle real time, and this is 3D. This
You
is
can be your own VAR at home.
Yeah.
You could.
Your own cameraman.
Well, I heard they use an 8K VR for some of the immersive video stuff.
Yes.
8K camera, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, that's some of the best resolution. Around.
So I would say, what do you guys think? Some of the video stuff looked crisper than others, depending on what they delivered, right? I mean, I didn't feel like everything was like super crisp, but it was great. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
What about 3D? Because can't you
So-
watch 3D movies?
You can't. Yeah, there's 3D movies, and there's like the 3D content you capture.
Spatial photos
Oh,
and
yes.
videos.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Spatial photos and videos.
Spatial
I'm just
photos
using their terminology.
Okay.
And you are.
So spatial photos and videos, 3D photos and videos for the average folk out there.
Hey,
It's so that
Average
that content looks really good. It doesn't look like it's crazy high resolution, but it's still an experience that you don't really get anywhere else.
Okay.
Not as clear as what it provides. There's 3D content, like devices and content everywhere. But this felt a little bit different. And like I said, not super high res, but it's, I don't know, you can see, like there's real depth, and it doesn't look
Is it comparable to a 3D movie? Like, when you go to the movies, you put on the 3D glasses.
Like an
Is it
Avatar.
comparable to that experience? Or
it was,
I would say it was like even more comfortable. 'Cause that's another thing that like I almost can't do.
Me too.
'Cause It's you can't do it.
So how'd you find that? Because we got to see Avatar in 3D. So
Right.
how'd you find that?
Yeah, like I could sit there and watch the whole movie comfortably.
Nice.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing is, if you saw in the demos, like the spatial photos and videos, they're not like a 16:9. They're a square.
Yeah.
So whatever camera they're using, there are definitely limitations to what it can take right now. But then the other thing I think of is, obviously they've been developing this hand in hand with like all these other devices that we have in our phones. Like, are we going to start being able to take 3D photos and videos with our phones and then just throwing them right to that headset, right?
Right. Yes. I think that's because I struggle with the thought of using that headset
To take the
in a special moment to take a 3D
It looks so
photo.
bad. It looks so bad.
Go get the.
Yep.
Like, oh, don't cut the cake
Yep.
yet.
Maybe hang on. Yeah.
I gotta get my
And then you
Vision
gotta
Pro.
Yeah.
take the 5 minutes to get yours adjusted.
And then
Like,
your
hold
face.
on.
Yeah. You.
Optic ideas were loading right now. All right, I'm in.
Yeah.
Let me go to
Yeah.
the
Now I'm ready.
camera.
Moment is
And the
gone.
candles melted all the way down. Yeah.
Kids crying.
You gotta already have it.
over.
You lost the moment.
Exactly.
Wife's mad.
That's true. Like scenarios when you would capture video, like that's valid.
So I think that's it makes sense to think that it's going to be on our phones.
I hope so.
Yes.
It
I would
has
like
to be,
think.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
to make that feature really stand out and work, and it not just be like a situation where you had to force
Yeah.
those kind of pictures to be taken. I think we'd have to be able to do it on our phones.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's what you talking about video, FaceTime. I'm hearing about like.
Let's talk about
That
FaceTime.
Y'all came
avatar.
to
I
life
heard.
with
Oh,
that
yeah,
one.
you guys saw
All right, so yeah, what was your experience doing like
we
a
did.
FaceTime
Yeah,
call?
we did have a FaceTime call. At first I was like, who am I looking at? Because the person is, they're using the what's the right terminology?
Digital persona. I'm so
Yes,
sorry. I know
digital
all
Oh,
these.
person.
I'm
Somebody
glad you're
studied.
here.
Right.
No, all the
Went to the
term-
school of
He's
Apple.
Apple PR.
Yep.
School of
Yeah.
Apple?
School of Apple.
For real.
Bro,
Doctorate.
Brian Apple Tong.
do you want to come back on this podcast next year?
Let's do it.
Don't take me off, bro.
No, but yeah, seeing the digital persona, at first I was like, okay, like it is really realistic. But there were some moments where I'm like, I know you're not fully real. Like,
Did it take away from like the call? Like, did it intervene with,
not really.
how
I think I was
felt?
just in such a like shock factor that I
Okay.
was like, okay, like I keep staring at like what,
Right.
they're doing, and I want to know like what it does like for, the
On
person
your-
on the
on
other
your
end.
end,
Yeah, like
yeah.
what
Oh,
do I
that's
look like that
true.
as well?
We never got to set up our own digital persona.
I think
Yeah.
on her side,
Yes.
I think on the other person's side, they didn't really see anything.
Right,
It was
yeah.
just like a one-way kind of
Oh,
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a recording at first.
Oh wow.
I'm like, are you talking to me?
So does it look AI kind of?
no, it's pretty
looks-
good.
It looks good. It's very digital
Okay.
though.
That's the word I was looking for.
It looks very digital.
Yeah.
It still looks like you're like. I wouldn't
person.
be surprised if it really looks like my face.
Yeah.
But it doesn't like. It's not gonna be my skin. It's all digital. And I went back and looked at the keynote, and they represented it pretty well. Like
Okay.
there's no surprises there.
Okay.
It looks like what you see in the keynote, and that's like a
That's
pretty
fair.
digital version of
Yeah.
that. Whoever was on the call.
What I found is, I like Krystal and you. I knew it was a person, but it wasn't a person. But I knew it was a person, and at least the ability to capture their eye movements and just gestures, like even when they bring their hands up, you would show up.
Oh, wow.
In
Oh, saw the hands?
the person did like hand gestures so that their hands would show up because it would track them, and so that kind of was like, oh whoa. But I think I first focused on it so much, I'm like, is this real? And it kind of freaked me out. But then when I kind of ignored it and just
Yeah.
let it happen, then I'm like, it actually kind of felt more comfortable looking at this because the eyes are moving, right? You're getting motion and expression like around cheekbones and stuff. It's just that it's a digital representation, but it's, I don't know. What do you think? I would say maybe like it's like 90%, like
Definitely. So
like
you
around 90% believable, right?
Oh yeah, no.
Right. Like
Like
not.
I would use it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
yeah,
mind using it,
exactly,
for
right?
sure, yeah.
My question is it better than a typical video call? Like, do you need it? Do you want this to
Would
be
you
the way
s-
you talk to?
Would you hop off the headset to get on your phone to have?
I honestly like I don't
FaceTime
mind
call?
it just because like sometimes we're like you doing these like virtual calls at home and like video calls and it's like it's the morning, you just got up and like you have to get ready.
True that,
and, like,
true.
Sometimes you don't want to show your face.
Oh, so
That's
you use the
fair.
digital version
Yup.
of you?
I kind of feel like I would for
You
that.
might race to the
If
headset.
it's a super early call,
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't.
think of
never
it that
thought
way.
about
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just pop.
I mean,
hop on.
Right.
some people have to do their hair, Judner.
Yeah. That's just. It's a.
Well,
that's
he
very
would take
real.
the same amount of time to put the headset on. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got to strap
That's
in.
true.
guys.
Yeah.
So the whole digital persona thing, this is what's kind of crazy, right? Facebook has been really like pursuing this whole metaverse thing, okay? Did Apple just come up with a better avatar than we've ever seen from anyone else who spent $50 billion and years of research and is shoving this metaverse idea through? Apple's not going to ever say the word metaverse, but they can create a... Were there all the reports of the Facebook like conference meeting rooms just like going to crap? Like what we saw... I
didn't want to bring it up.
Yeah, I was going to say
said it, right?
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Like, I'm not going to be the one to say it.
Look, I'm just saying, Apple already has the best digital avatar we've ever seen out of any company that's done it before.
And in that demo where we were on the FaceTime, there was collaborative work also there.
Right.
So there was a PowerPoint with all these things that we were both interacting with, images on the PowerPoint that we were moving. We were both doing at the same time through these avatars or digital personas.
We could see the hands too. I know that you didn't, but when we saw the hand motions, did you see hand motions, Krystal?
I believe I did.
wasn't paying attention.
I was just so like staring at the person, and also when they brought up like the workflow, the digital workflow. I think another cool thing on top of that was also the like spatial audio when you drag left to right, you hear their voice go to the left, and it kind of like moves their face to the left as well. So yeah, all of that together was.
But it's like, okay, we're doing a podcast here, okay? What if we're like, hey, let's go to a next VR sporting game event and we can see each other's digital avatars, just things like that. Like it's really more than believable to me. It's like I'm buying it, you know? So,
yeah, no, I agree.
You can see where it could go, basically.
Yeah, and they're not even. I mean, sure, they're doing things in the lab, but it's so funny how like. They're not even talking about it. I'm like, dude, you already just outdid what Facebook has been trying to do for all these years.
Like you got your avatar there. You guys are working collaboratively on the projects together all at once. And
I tried Horizon Workspace recently, last year. And I mean, the avatars were kind of like janky, whatever. They do phase movement a little bit, but it's still cartoonish, right? And then we're all supposed to go to the whiteboard to write together. And I'm here like, and then you bring out the controller and it's got this like haptic feedback to make it seem like you're actually writing on the thing. And you write it, and I'm like, 2 seconds later, the writing goes there, and I'm like, wait, I wrote it.
Oh man,
somewhere. It's kind of all over. The experience is not really sophisticated or refined right now.
So this sounds more responsive.
It's seamless.
Sure, yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Like it legitimately works. You can get real work done.
That's why I say like my dad was asking about it a lot because he's like at his desk like the entire day, and he's like, is this going to be something that I can actually use and like work out of? Like, I definitely see that happening. I see, like, all these big companies just, like, buying all the employees one of these and, like, working together.
Can this replace my 49-inch monitor?
That's for you to decide, too. Yeah. But here's what I want. Let's go down the line. Let's pretend we're not tech reviewer influencers and you are a reporter. Let's go down the line. Would you buy the first generation and why? You're not a tech reviewer. You're just someone who loves tech.
Not a tech reviewer?
Yeah, not for, we don't do this for a living right?
Like it's not.
So I'll let Krystal,
Okay, I'll start. I'm trying to.
You're not hurting anyone's feelings here.
I know. It's just hard not to say no, right? Like I'm going to say yes. I think there's going to be that much more interest in it that people are going to want to see what it is like in their everyday lives. The price is a little tough for most.
The price is tough.
It is a little tough, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, no, please. Go ahead.
If I had the money, sure. I'm all for it. I'm a geek at heart, you know. I'm all about the technology. This is cutting edge technology.
Yeah,
this is next level stuff. The geek in me wants everything to do with this. And if I have the money, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. I don't think you have to be like an influencer or anything, or the regular everyday person might not be able to afford it, but if for the love of technology, there's enough reason to buy it.
Yeah, I agree with Judner there. I was pretty excited at the announcement. I love tech. It's very innovative, so I would be one of those that would want to. You would
throw down.
I was like, if I had the money, I would get it. I would definitely get it.
I guess right. If we like said, okay, we can't pretend like, oh, if we all had the same setup, would you do it, right? So for me, I'm right on the fringe. Like I comfortably can't say I would do it right now. Like I love everything tech, and I think the way that maybe they can kind of get people to buy this is we know that Apple has their Apple Pay Later service, and it's for
That's valid.
payments no interest, no fees. And I think if they want to kind of get, we know this is like, I don't want to call it the developer model because it's honestly ready for big time. It's just about the price. If you value what it delivers, then you're gonna, people buy bags, people buy shoes, people buy all types of stuff.
Fair.
Who cares, right? Everyone's gonna spend the money they want to spend. But I think if they can do an Apple Pay Later, maybe even like spread it out over 6 payments, 0 interest, 0 fees, there's gonna be a lot more people who are just right on that line that are, saving everything they can with this tougher economy that might be convinced to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
And Apple is one of those few companies that could leverage the facts that they're involved in finances. Like, what if Sony offered cameras and lenses with the plans like that? So many more people as young creators would be able to do that. So maybe there's something there. I don't know.
I'm a no.
Hard no?
Hard no.
Hard no.
Because the people I talk to in regular life about this thing don't even know what it is. They're like, is this, I told them, I was like, check out my reporting. I sent a picture of the thing. They were like, is this the thing that everyone's going crazy about? They don't know, and they don't care yet. VR is going to struggle to take off. And Apple is the only company that will make it really go more mainstream. This is not the year. We always say don't buy first gen. We always say let them iron it out. And also, again, it's a struggle. I think of the regular person as not someone who's not as someone who's upwardly mobile or has a lot of money who buys their own place. I'm thinking someone that maybe shops at
But what about
ShopRite.
you, though?
Yeah, that's
Like, what about your opinion? Like,
Yeah.
forget.
Same thing.
You
Same as
wouldn't
y'all.
want
It's too much money, and me at heart, I'm a basic B. So,
Fair. That's fair.
so probably no. Yeah. Pretty basic. I'm like, I'd buy a Lululemon pair of pants. I would save $3,500 for like 100 pairs of. I don't know how much.
But what they kind of pounded to us is like, right, every time I use the word VR or AR, they don't say those words. They say spatial computing. So, and it's really more of an augmented reality experience more than VR. So, we're gonna have to see how it plays out. So you're a no right now.
This is a full spectrum. Look at that.
I'm right on the fringe. You're a yes.
Yes, I'm a yes.
You're a fringe, but yes.
I'm a yes.
And I'm also a fringe.
Yeah. Okay.
Say that.
There we go. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know they're like, hey guys, you went over your time. Like, we could be here for another hour.
I'm
Let's
happy
be real.
to.
Yeah.
I know.
Let's be real.
Seriously.
The Apple
Okay.
security.
Sorry, guys.
We're gonna keep talking. We're gonna let the cameras roll.
Yeah,
Fade
y'all
to
can
black.
cut it now.
but,
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say bye to the center camera, buddy. See y'all. Thank you.